What would you do if you were trapped under the death-seeking paw of the king of beasts, or helpless against a heavyweight bear that's been hungry for days? Even though most don't return to share the stories, some have been there and lived to tell the tale. But were they just lucky? Or did they know something that helped them escape the doom they were about to face? For a number of these survivors, it seems to be the case of sheer luck as they escaped while others lost their lives. This story of a 17-year-old has a perfect example of that, after he survived a bear attack and some of his friends did not. He and a group of students went exploring at Saltwater, a place in Norway known for its population of bears. When they had set up camp at a spot, a bear came along and was seemingly curious, hungry, or even both. This animal immediately collapsed the tent and attacked the 17-year-old and his friends. The bear clawed at his face and left an ugly mark before attacking another person who was dead on the spot. However, vengeance was swift thanks to an armed adult who was close by, as he shot the bear immediately. On other occasions, some people were plain careless and even provoked the animal into attack, like this zookeeper who was thought to be showing off and making the lioness uncomfortable. He thought he was fast until she caught his arm before anyone knew what she was planning. The zookeeper was probably horrified as he struggled to free his arm from her lethal grip. Now you know not to mess with the queen of the jungle. But thanks to the intervention of the people talking with him, the lioness only got a piece of fabric. Just as some people find help like the zookeeper, this woman had to rely on her strength and determination to survive a dog attack. On a Saturday morning in Manaconda, this woman was taking her morning walk at the Chitrapuri Hills when she suddenly came across 15 stray dogs. It was just 6 a.m. and there was barely anyone around the area. Knowing she was on her own, the woman bravely resisted the dogs even after some of them attacked her. When she fell to the ground, she got up as fast as she could and waved at them using her slipper. She continued to do this until the dogs let her be, and she went her way. But it was a different case for this woman named Karen Osborne, who begged for help as a female bear attacked her and almost took her life. She suffered multiple injuries as her arm and leg were broken by the bear. Afraid and desperate, this woman called 911 to come help her as soon as possible. It was reported that the bear attacked her again before help arrived at the scene. On getting to the hospital, it was discovered that some of her teeth and pelvic bone were broken. It was a miracle she survived this attack, despite sustaining multiple injuries around her body. But this mine worker from Australia had his legs torn and fingers bitten off by a massive saltwater crocodile. The gruesome experience happened by the river in a local environment where the man had probably come to bathe or relax. At first, his hand was stuck in the croc's mouth as he struggled to escape. He pulled hard enough to free his arm, but left his fingers in the croc's mouth. But the beast hadn't come for just fingers. It attacked him again, this time biting his legs and pulling him into the water. As the brutal struggle continued, the man tried to sacrifice his dog by grabbing and throwing it to the croc. But it seemed like the croc had its priorities set for human flesh. Once he started screaming for help, people came running to save his life before any further damage could be done. This guy saw a group of otters crossing a path in the area while taking a walk through the Singapore Botanic Gardens. But a runner who had headphones on ran past him and stepped on one of the animals and continued his race. The agitated otters mistook him for the runner and decided he had to pay for the disturbance. In a second, they attacked him and bit him all over his body, especially on his legs and hands. The man cried for help, and his friend came screaming at the otters to drive them away from him. There were over 15 otters, and he sustained a lot of bites. He said he was lucky to survive, as he thought the animals would have bit him to death had his friend not intervened. It is almost unimaginable for one to have their head up a lion's mouth and survive to give the story. Yet this young man recounts his experience with a mountain lion, saying how at first he didn't recognize it was a lion until it came close enough to him. Once the lion was close enough, it pounced on him, claws first, and got him down on the ground. The lion dug his claws on the side of his neck, but not deep enough to kill him. It was also trying to bite his head off as its teeth raked against the skull of the man. According to his story, he felt the vibration of the bite, its teeth were touching his skull. All the man could see was blood, as it felt like he had a bloody helmet on. He managed to fight with his hands by finding a soft spot to pierce with his finger. That soft spot happened to be the lion's right eye as it squealed in pain and released the man from its grip. The lion ran away, and that man lived to see another day. And so did this woman, who not only survived an animal attack, but also started hanging out with them after the incident. On that day, she was swimming with her friend when she noticed the water was murky and could barely see beyond her arm. Feeling suspicious about the water, she asked her that they move out of the water. But before they could, she saw a dark figure swimming towards her, and she paused to see what it was. And a shark was what it was. She claimed she wasn't scared at first, as she had swam with sharks before, so she stayed back out of curiosity. She noticed the shark's behavior was a bit weird, so in a bid to be safe, she brought her feet forward in front of her, but suddenly felt its impact straight at her feet. The woman wasn't fully sure what was happening, as she thought the shark only hit her. Her instinct was to kick it back from her, but as she struggled, blood was covering the water around her. She immediately became scared and knew she had to get out of the water. The more she struggled, the more blood she saw. The shark had sunk its teeth into her leg. The woman kept screaming to herself that she needed to get out of the water as she started to swim frantically towards the shore. She was already experiencing a trauma response when she saw her swimming partner and another person on a paddleboard. They helped her wounded leg onto the board and encouraged her to keep pushing as they all tried to get to the shore quickly. Once on shore, a medical team came and her wound was tended to. As a way to strengthen her survival experience, she continued swimming with sharks long after her injuries were healed and she was free to get back in the water. A man whose survival story feels too good to be true is John Doyle, the famous survivor of a 2-time animal attack that happened on the same day. It happened in the year 1993 in Angola. John Doyle was up and about his normal day and decided to go surfing. As usual, he drove to the beach and got out his surfboard to have some fun in the water. In the process of surfing the waves, John fell from his board and sustained a little injury on his foot. This accident attracted a bloodthirsty shark who was ready to attack John in the water. John tried to swim fast from the incoming shark, but the great white turned the surfboard over, plunging John into the ocean. The shark bit his leg as it was caught in the grip of its mouth. John managed to release his leg, but the shark attacked John again from the side. And this time, the man fought with everything he had. Using the surfboard, he got on the next wave and escaped the shark. But little did he know what fate lay ahead of him. Weak and dehydrated, John found a creek along the road where he stopped to get some water. As he did this, he was unaware he was being targeted. In a split second, a lion attacked him and bit his torso. John fought the lion and managed to run to his car, where another group of lions attacked him. By the time he managed to lock himself in, he was too weak to drive. All he could do was wait for help, and help arrived 30 minutes later when a group of tourists noticed his car. It is said that John had over 200 stitches, and his body took months to recover. But if you think John was so lucky, wait till you hear the story of this girl named Jacqueline, whose face was almost torn beyond recognition by dogs. She was meant to sit 2 dogs in their owner's absence, but as soon as she arrived at the door, these dogs attacked her and tore her face apart. When the police arrived, the damage had already been done as she was in a very bad place. Yet she survived the incident and wishes her story to be an inspiration rather than one of pity and sadness. Let us know what you think about these stories in the comments. And if you're a survivor as well, we would like to hear your story.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe. See you on the next one.